when we were tagging them. When we weren't tagging them, we had 36 hours. We had till the calendar day. So the numbers don't change much from citations to warnings. And that's all I can provide you is that information.
Joe, I've got one thing. While we're on this subject, and I don't know, I won't be here with the tag situation, whatever it turns out. If for some reason we are still with the online check-in or the app, I think we should look at possibly adding a couple more line items there to get some more biological data, whichever ones would be appropriate that would help out. You know, I know there's some on there that aren't the best as far as age or whatever, but maybe we can decide, you know, whatever those measurements might be, that's something that they could do in the field, you know.
Okay. Just remember the definition of what we've talked about biological data would be, I guess you're referring to things that wouldn't take special training.
No, like take a tape measure and wrap it around the base of an antler or measure whatever.
Right.
We got
Illinois measures from the corner of the nostril to the corner of the eye, and then the circumference around the antler below the brow tine.
Okay.
I don't know what that might be. There's a whole bunch of people here that are smarter than me about what would be helpful, but you know, that would be something that someone could do. It's very simple to check in an animal currently, but I think, you know, that would be something you could add without making it too much of a hindrance. If it would be a benefit, I think it might be. So
Sure, we can have our program leader look at that and look at what's valuable, what we could use actually in a real world situation, and ask hunters to do that.
okay, any more discussion?
We're in committee.
Joe, one quick question. Under the annual survey cost estimate where you're talking about going to taxidermists and meat processors to age the deer and so forth, what's the possibility of getting like UT Martin and UT Knoxville and Cleveland State and some of the other wildlife society students along with their instructor to help with that and get matching PR funds from their time?
That's a good question. We actually do that currently. We have a lot of volunteers that come for those weekends. I'll have to look into if we use those folks for match. I think we might do that currently as volunteer hours. We just bumped that up, our volunteer hour, the use of that for PR funds, but I'll verify that we're using those check station days for that purpose. Thank you.
I know that at Fall Creek Falls State Park during the warrior hunt, Cleveland State brings 3 or 4 students, and of course there's PR match from that.
Sorry, any other comments, questions?
Yeah, I think
Bill?
I think when we went to e-tagging several years ago, all of this was a known quantity. We knew the data was going to be different. We knew that it left enforcement with a challenge, and we weren't sure we were going to get all the animals tagged. And I think in some areas, I've got some complaints of turkeys, some guys killing 7, 8, and 10 turkeys. But, you know, we can't afford to spend $40,000 to survey or $1 million to put a tagging system back in. So I think something to help in law enforcement might need to be considered about the time that a hunter has to tag or something else, because we knew this was a problem when we did it. And I don't think you can put the cows out of the barn now. So other states don't collect the data. They've got 48 hours in Alabama to tag deer, and Mississippi doesn't even have a tagging system at all. So, you know, I think we might be chasing a rabbit that we need to, this money we don't have to spend. So I agree that law enforcement's behind the 8 ball trying to make a case on a guy that's got a turkey hanging at his house and it's not midnight yet. But I'm not sure we don't need to think about a different answer to this problem, because we knew this was going to happen when we went to e-tagging, in my opinion.
Any other comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Teague, thank you. I believe there's one matter that wasn't on the agenda that you want to bring
Yeah,
up.
something came up at the January commission meeting. Alex Forsback, who represented the Tennessee Valley Farmers, asked the commission agency to look into funding opportunities for the proposed White Oak WMA project. The concern is over some flooding and habitat. And I think we asked if somebody from the agency could give us an update on that. And I didn't know if Director Carter or someone, anyone would like to say a word or two to see where we are.
With your permission, Mr. Chairman, I'd ask David McKinney to give us an update from some of the research that he's been doing with the West Tennessee Basin Authority.
Yes, Committee Chairman Teague and Commissioners, for everyone's information, White Oak WMA is in the northwest corner of Hardin County. It's on our side of the Tennessee River. It sits in a floodplain, is affected by the Tennessee River and some of its tributaries. It is bounded on the north, east, and south by agricultural lands, and the issue has been on the table for some time about management of White Oak WMA and how it affects the hydrology on these ag lands. The staff have been working with the West Tennessee Tributaries Project and also in-house with the folks who manage the WMA now and do a considerable amount of work. So what we would like to propose is that we come to the commission in either March or April and set aside enough time to show you the history of this area, the hydrology of this area, so that everyone understands the issues. We would like for you to hear directly from the agency's recommendations, also the West Tennessee Tributaries Work Group, their recommendation on an approach, and certainly enough time to hear from the affected agricultural interest. So we would like to take the time to do this thoroughly, if that would meet your approval.
That'd be fine.
Thank you, Dave. Me and Commissioner Holbert met with the Tennessee Farmers Group and some of the agency people in Savannah. It's been, 5-6 months ago? And this has been an ongoing process, and I appreciate everybody cooperating and being patient in this. We was waiting on a LIDAR survey, and they've got it done, and then West Tennessee River Basin Authority, and we've been working on a plan. So I appreciate everybody's patience and us moving forward on this. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no other business, I think that concludes the Wildlife Management Committee.
Chairman Teague, thank you. I know we have some representatives from the agricultural community. Did anybody want to speak to this, or do you want to wait until the March or April meeting? I sure wanted to respect. Okay, thank you so much, and thank you for working with us. We greatly appreciate it. Oh, excuse me. Okay, excuse me, sir. Before we go to Budget Committee, two things very quickly. And he just snuck out on me, but it sure is good to see Kate back in uniform. We've missed him. We've missed him a lot. And Ron Crabtree, forgive me for overlooking you. Hadn't seen you in a while, but it is great to have you here, sir. If you just put on your hunting orange, I can spot you a little better. But it is, thank you for being here. You've always been faithful to be at each of the commission meetings. David Watson, Chair of the Budget Committee. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to call Chuck Yost.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm here to share a budget expansion proposal. And this is regarding a partnership between TWRA and UT Extension for veterinary services. We have a great need within TWRA for the services of a wildlife veterinarian And in conversations with the University of Tennessee, we've learned that UT Extension has a similar need. And before I go further, Dr. Gerloff, who was recognized earlier, is here with special interest on this, serving as the interim extension dean. Thank you for coming. With both agencies having a need for this service, neither partner is certain that they have enough need to hire their own wildlife veterinarian. So there's been quite a bit of interest, or there is quite a bit of interest in partnering. And some specific needs that the agency has is assistance with plans, protocol, and training for wildlife diseases. One of the most glaring needs is related to chronic wasting disease, or the threat of chronic wasting disease. And then also chemical immobilization and euthanasia. And then there's also quite a bit of need to coordinate necropsy work for wildlife that is reported as sick in order to monitor that. And then there's a great need for coordination with federal and state disease eradication officials. You know, there's great potential with some of these wildlife diseases to impact domestic livestock as well, which means that there's a need for us to coordinate well in such an event. This would help us through those circumstances. It'd be good for us to have a subject matter expert like a wildlife DVM to help educate our staff, train our staff, along with UT Extension staff, the commission and the legislature as needed, and then to serve as a technical rep on wildlife health committees that the agency is involved with. Also, it'd be a good resource to refer the public and partners to regarding wildlife diseases, and then to help us identify research needs and prioritize research, which is a much needed skill set, especially related to wildlife diseases, and then to obtain and inventory controlled drugs needed for managing wildlife. So those are specific needs that we had. Some of the benefits of partnering is the cost sharing and to create a direct link with the university partner. And it would also allow the professional who was given this opportunity to access both partners' resources. And then hopefully will result in a more attractive job, which thereby should result in a higher quality applicant and more talent by the person who was given this opportunity. Some other considerations is that this would actually be a UT employee. We would just have a contractual agreement. It'd be a non-tenured faculty appointment. And when I say faculty, I don't usually think of what this would be, but this is not somebody that would have a regular teaching appointment, say every semester at the university. Most of the teaching would be directly related to disease workshops with the agency or with Extension. Our goal is, if this were to be approved, start date of July 1, 2017, and just another consideration is that Chancellor Cross of the Institute of Agriculture is supportive, and Dr. Gerloff is here as a sign of that as well. The contract agreement would be a 5-year agreement, a 75-25 partnership with TWRA providing 75%, and then UT providing the match. And the cost would be federally reimbursed with wildlife restoration funds, and the contract agreement would be for $200,000 per year for 5 years. And with that, I'll pause for questions or if the commission desires to move forward.
Any questions from the Budget Committee?
Thank you, Chairman Watson. I was at the meeting with Chuck and Bobby and Mark Goodland and the UT and the state vet's office, and it blew my mind that the need that we had for this position, and really that we hadn't already had one. And I was in wholehearted agreement with them, especially with the partnership with UT, because it affords us a lot of resources we wouldn't normally have. So I'm in favor. So.
Any other questions? Commissioner Swan?
Oh, I just move for approval.
Okay. Any questions? The committee will be voting on a budget expansion for UT Wildlife Veterinary, $1 million, a 5-year contract, be paying for PR funds with matching dollars from UT. All those in favor, say aye. Against? Ayes have it. Mr. Chairman?
We're
Thank you,
going to
Commissioner.
take a 10-minute break. We'll reconvene at 2:20. Thank you.